guys, it's Joe, and today we're gonna talk about the mind-boggling work of Oshimi Shuzo on his psychological horror manga called A Trail of Blood. It's been a while since I started and somewhat finished the series. Well, technically the manga is still ongoing, so yeah, there's that. And today, I just want to share some of my insights, reactions, or possibly a breakdown of observations with the art as I draw a fan art of it. Obviously, I've been a fan. So yeah, what I have here is a sketch of my fan art because today I'm about to recreate Oshimi's prominent style in the manga and a contributing feature in the narrative, which is shading and inking. So for starters, A Trail of Blood, or in its original Japanese title Chi no Wadachi, is a psychological horror and thriller manga of Oshimi Shuzo, who is also behind the works Aku no Hana and Happiness and many others. This is the first manga I have ever read from Oshimi, which honestly, what a ride. I mean, yeah, it's probably one of those mangas where you get too emotionally charged and that is enough to drive you off to the edge of your seat, in my perspective. The story revolves around Seiichi Osabe, a 13-year-old boy living his perfectly normal life in a small town with his friends and his loving parents. But one thing that makes him quite different from other teenage boys is his strong relationship. In this context, strong is an understatement. With his mother Seiko, who has always been overprotective and doting towards him. Then things goes out from there. Yeah, and that's it. That's all you have to know about it because I don't want to risk any of the spoilers. So if you want to have a full experience with the manga, my best recommendation is to read it first before diving into this review. Now, my first impression of the manga when I first read the synopsis, I thought, this is way too simple for a psychological horror manga. And I felt that the story might be or potentially be dragging. But boy, I am so wrong. The simplicity of the plot perfectly covers up the brewing, dark, and ominous story behind this family of Seiichi, and for me, it was really an effective way of hooking your readers to the story. It literally is a page-turner for me. Currently, it was 76 chapters, and I finished them all in just 2 days. There's something about the way that the story was told that keeps you from wanting to know more. For the record, for me, A Trail of Blood is the only horror manga by far that really got to my head and it messes with my emotions. I experience having to pause for a while to breathe, and when the tensions get too high, I shake it off a bit, before continuing. It was that intense, really. What I liked about the storytelling is that it puts you onto that first-hand perspective, with each page having 1 to 3 panels, with Oshimi focusing on the faces and expressions more than just the dialogue. It puts you to that same place as the characters were feeling. It's like the story progresses through series of reactions from the characters that makes it such a visceral experience, from horrifying to unsettling moments or not knowing who to trust anymore. Oshimi brilliantly leaves you in that tight spot. It is one of those stories where you can't really pinpoint who's the antagonist, and you feel yourself being emotionally manipulated by the situation. You see firsthand how one descends to madness, and which makes the manga such a slow burn. It makes you think about the persons you trust the most, about what they're capable of. Who knew a mother's care can be this ominous? Well, story aside, let's not talk about the art style. Oshimi staggers his readers by focusing more on their faces, as I have mentioned before. But what I particularly observed from the way it was drawn, he defines his characters through shading. the lighting in these characters' faces speaks a lot about who they are. And here, as I recreated the way Oshimi draws, I started to be mindful of the cross-hatching and hatching techniques and where he usually applies them on. I used that on my first pencil sketch, and as I moved in to erase the first layer in order to do the inking, I noticed how much character the shading bring. Once you remove the shading, it's just a picture of a perfectly normal mother and her sweaty child, in which, spoiler alert, they're not that kind of normal. So that's how I concluded that it was in fact the shading and facial expressions that brings the story to life. From the stunning silence of the imageries, they start to see the horrors behind a simple smile of their faces, and that's what kept me hooked. Now here, I added the shades and I'm starting to make sense of the characters now, and it's really the charm of this manga. I appreciate the mindfulness of every detail, as well as the nuances of real-life horrors and relatable moments of family and teenage life, and this manga will bring them all to you. It will definitely leave you vulnerable because of the subject it talks about. So yeah, in a nutshell, I'm just really here to rant about how I love A Trail of Blood and how you should definitely check it out. It's still ongoing, so yep, there's much more horror that awaits. So yeah, that's for it now. Thanks so much for watching this first ever video essay about a manga review. I did this one, took a lot of time and effort to make, but it's really fun. Let me know in the comments if you want some of these types of videos, then, you know, I might make some more, I don't know. Also, you might want to hit that like button and subscribe for more stuff that I might do in the future. So yeah, see you guys, peace and love.